substantial declines across all 4 categories. Nashville also reported fewer homicides, robberies, and aggravated assaults. The association cautions that the figures are preliminary and not final FBI crime statistics. That's all for now. I'm Dalton Barrett, and I'll talk to you later.
The Good Neighbor Network, on air and online at WGNSradio.com. Rutherford County's most trusted source for local news. Rutherford weather.
Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Today, with highs around 95. Lows around 72. Tonight, storms likely. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Currently, it's 72 degrees.
There's a difference between a child being watched and a child being taught. At Academy Child Development, teachers bring award-winning Fraud Street curriculum to life for infants through pre-K children. Early language, math, and science lessons build their confidence so they walk into kindergarten ready. Tuition at the Academy includes special enrichment programs. Murfreesboro families new to the Academy enjoy discounts until August 30th, so book a tour today. Call the Academy at 629-284-3108. That's 629-284-3108.
When it comes to your child's health,
you want care that's close, convenient,
and centered around the needs of your family.
At MMC Pediatrics, we're more than just doctors.
We're partners in your parenting journey.
Here for every growth spurt,
for every boo-boo,
every fever, and every flu.
Our team approach means that your child always sees someone that knows them.
We are MMC Pediatrics.
We are right beside you.
Every step of the way.
You won't hear anywhere else. They're local issues. WGNS, AM, FM, online. We're the Good Neighbor Network. FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro. FM 100.5 Smyrna. Audio and video streaming at WGNSradio.com. This is the Roundtable. Tennessee Association of Broadcasters Award winner for Best Local Talk Show. A look at the news, views, politics, sports, and people shaping Rutherford County.
Welcome into the Roundtable on WGNS on a Wednesday morning. Chip Walters with you. Glad to be here on this Wednesday. It's going to be hot, and proud to say we come to you from the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters Station of the Year, WGNS, and Brian was there on Monday night and had to have help taking out all the awards that the station won. And congratulations, you guys put together, obviously, a nice package of things to be considered, and very well done. 6 awards, more than anybody in the state.
Well, thanks for that. And this show was one of those for Station of the Year. I kind of used audio through the day, starting with our national anthem at 5 a.m. through Action Line and Roundtable and my show and sports, and just kind of gave folks a view of what we do, Blue Raider coverage, all of that. So, yeah.
There you go.
It was pretty cool.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you just heard from our guest today, Chris Massaro, the Director of Athletics at Middle Tennessee, here for the hour. If you have questions or comments, you can drop them by text at 615-893-1450. But, Chris, hard to believe you start your 22nd year at Middle about right now as school's getting ready to start. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah, it's been great, and it's been really my professional life. It's the thrill of my professional life, and just, every day, how can we make it better? And so that's what drives you, and we've had our ups, we've had a lot of highs, we've had a couple of lows here, and so it's a challenge, and just the way college athletics is evolving, it's just it's, in one word I would describe it as invigorating. Another word might be frustrating, because you just don't know. Really, since COVID, we've been kind of operating on the fly, but it's been a great run, great town, great university, got a great president. So I'm a rarity that all those years I've worked for the same president, so it's been a good situation. Great place to raise my 4 kids.
I know when Kermit Davis went into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, that was one of the first things he talked about was basically he worked for 2 ADs with you and Coach Donnelly and one president. He talked about how unique and that was, and how it really helped his career.
Yeah, and it's just it's a philosophy, and I inherited it. I think probably Dr. McPhee inherited it too. That the MTSU is just family, and if you work there, you're part of a bigger, larger family, and to be adopted into that has been great. And that's why coach like Kermit Davis turns down overtures until finally, he took a job with Ole Miss, and so it's just a great community. It's a great university, and it's a great place to live.
Well, obviously, we do want to talk some about the national landscape and that kind of thing, but let's start local and work our way out. And as you start this school year and you think about, the state of athletics where you are right now and what you want to see out of this year, what comes to mind?
Wins.
Yeah.
And so that's the most important thing we can do, on the field, obviously. That, Chip, I've told the staff that this story. There's a guy named Matt Emmons, and he was an Olympic target shooter. And I think it was the 2004 Olympics in Athens, and he's gonna win. He's already won the gold medal in like the prone position, and he's leading going into the last shot of the 3 position, and I guess it's standing, kneeling, and prone, and it's at a great distance, and so he gets down. All he really needs to do is hit the target, not necessarily the bullseye, but the target, and he's going to clinch a gold. So he sights it in, fires the gun, and hits the target, but as he found out later, it was the wrong target. And so he shot at the wrong target, and he went from 1st to 8th. And really our challenge in athletics is we've got so many moving parts going on that make sure we're shooting at the right target. You can hit a target like he did, but it doesn't do you any good. In fact, it can be a detriment. So what we're trying to do is just have this laser focus. We really have 2 targets in athletics, and we don't need to overcomplicate it. We want to graduate our student athletes, put them in the best position academically that we can, and then we want to win games, win championships, those kind of things. So we're trying to really narrow our focus in the targets. So it's kind of a long answer what we want to see this year, but I've used that example, and to me it's a pretty good metaphor of what we're trying to do with all these changes in college athletics. We still have to zero in on our targets.
Yeah, and also, it certainly makes it talk about invigorating, because football is kind of the sport that gets things going and sets the tone for the year. Soccer's off to a good start. They've won 2 games, play again tomorrow night. Volleyball coming up soon, but it's football that kind of sets the tone for the year.
It is, and it's America. College football is the second most popular sport in America behind pro football, and then there's a big gap between 2 and 3, and so we're part of that environment. And we're FBS, we're big time football, all those kind of things, and so it does set the tone. It sets the tone for your whole athletic department. I think it sets the tone for the community. We've struggled the last couple of years, obviously. I think that Derek's really found his footing and really likes his team. We open up with Murray State on Labor Day weekend, and to me that's a huge game. We lost Austin Peay last year, and it's those are hard games to recover from. And so we just that's our focus, that's our target, man. For football, they got to go out and beat Murray State.
It's the biggest game of the year right now.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
And then win that, and then all of a sudden Marshall becomes the biggest game.
Let's go to Marshall and get a good victory there against an old rival, and we've won in that stadium before, so it's not an impossible task.
But you got to see a little bit of the scrimmage last Saturday,
yes.
And what they look bigger. I know that.
Yeah, our offensive line, it looks to me like we've got 4 newcomers that are going to be on that are running with the number 1s right now, and to me, that's a good sign. I think that we've brought in some people that are really going to help us. It looks to me like we've got a little bit of depth there. I think that if you look at our last couple seasons, that is pretty easy to identify as one of our weaker links. You know, and the ability to run the football and how that handicaps your quarterback, and also, you know, even in pass protection. I mean, that we can't run deep routes and those kind of things. So I think they've done a good job of shoring that up. I like the look of our receivers. We've got a couple of water bug type guys that are really explosive, and we've got some size too that with big catch radiuses. So I like what I see there, and our running backs look like. I mean, we've got a little collection of running backs. So, Chip, what I really want to see is you be able to announce 3rd and 1, and we're lining up in a power formation, and we're just going to knock people off the ball and get it by a yard or two.
Or, yeah, and hand it off to Terrence Brown for that, or to DJ Taylor for, like he had a 65-yard run.
Yeah.
Last year. I'm looking forward to that. And you know, and to have, you got a quarterback who's got some of it, whatever it is. Roman Gagliano is just one of the most engaging guys you could ever deal with.
Well, my first memory of Roman has
the
to do
women's
with women's
basketball.
basketball.
That's right.
You know, and he goes out there and sinks a half-court shot.
People will ask me about Roman Gagliano, and that is the story I tell them. Is this guy walked out of the stands, he had, and hits a half-court shot to win a weekend in Destin, and just like it was every day. It was great.
Yeah, and he went over and he high-fived Derek, you know, and it was like, he expected it too. I think he's got that kind of confidence that it exudes, and it impacts the others around him. So, but to me, that sums up Roman, and he's that way. He's just let's go have some fun, but yet he works hard, you know, and he's got a little bit of magic to it.
Yeah. Chelsea Floyd's going to be here in a couple of weeks, and we're going to talk about all a lot of the details. But as you go into this year, a couple of things that got flipped around in the schedule. Homecoming will be in early November, and the Salute to Veterans, which has normally been closer to Veterans Day, will now be focused on the 25th anniversary of the 9/11 tragedy, and to bring some light back to that.
Yeah, and that's hard to believe.
Yeah.
It's been 25 years, you know, and these college students weren't even alive when it happened. But, you know, we did that really at the request of the students. The number one, that they wanted to have a little bit later homecoming because they feel like when they come back to school that their schedule's pretty jammed, and maybe they can't give the attention to homecoming that they wanted to do. So we worked with the Veterans Committee and presented the idea of the 9/11, and they embraced it, and so we're excited about that. I think there's a segment of the veterans that, number one, that the weather will be better, it'll be cooler. I mean, it won't be as cold as maybe those November marches are, so maybe we'll get a better veterans turnout as well. So we'll see how this works. It's kind of a 1 year, and it's kind of a special year because it is the 25-year. I kind of hate to call it anniversary, but the 5-year
recognition, maybe.
of the tragedy of 9/11, and those of us that lived through it can, you know, I mean, we knew exactly where we were and what we were thinking, and just it's hard to explain the horror of it as you watched it on live television.
I was putting on my socks, sitting on the side of my bed, watching the morning news.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just.
Yeah, we were in a staff meeting at the University of South Carolina, and we're getting ready to play Bowling Green that weekend, and we're watching it on TV, and when that second tower collapsed, it was like, holy smoke. And then we're talking to Urban Meyer, he was the coach, whether the game's going to go on or not. So so it was a crazy time.
Yeah, fortunately Middle had that weekend off and didn't have any changes to the schedule. But now Conference USA has a little bit of a different look. Louisiana Tech has left, as well as UTEP, which makes basketball scheduling actually a little easier, and both women and men will play the same type of schedule this year, same number of games. But from your standpoint, looking at where Conference USA stands in the big picture of things, they had a good deal of success in postseason a year ago, and it is one of the most entertaining and competitive football leagues that's out there.
Yeah, I mean, Chip, that we can probably get in this later, but as a member of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, you study these leagues and you see all these charts and you see all these stats, and Conference USA had the most one possession games by far of any league in the country, and so every game was a fourth quarter game. There's not much separation between first and 10th. And when you chart them out, and they've got these charts with team strength and stuff, and there's Conference USA, all 10 teams are really in a cluster, while most leagues you have a little bit of separation at the top and a little bit of separation at the bottom. And any conference game is going to be a fourth quarter game. I don't see that changing this year. It's a really competitive league that's got good coaches all across the board. It's got, it's a high octane offense kind of thing. And so it's going to be interesting. Like a year ago, Kennesaw State was coming off, I think it was a 2-win season, picked last, and they end up winning the conference and winning 10 games. So you never know what's going to happen.
I heard a quote-unquote expert talking about group of 5 or group of 6, however you want to classify that, football, and expected that the group of 5 or group of 6 to kind of morph a little bit into a high-scoring offensive brand of football, simply because defensive linemen can are at such a premium.
Yeah, I think your bigs in total are at a premium. So both your lines, so you might be a little bit younger in those lines. You might be not quite have the girth. So you might go with more quickness and speed and those kind of things. So when other people are zigging, you need to zag and all those kind of things. I think there's plenty of talent out there at wide receiver and running back and some of those skill positions, and there's only one quarterback that typically plays at each school, so maybe 2. So there's also, you can get a good quarterback at the group of 6. So I think that's going to be the way to go, to be a little bit different, to be a little bit more high octane. It was pretty interesting going back to the CFP that this was the first year in 10 years that, the stats that reflect winning the most, that it was the defensive stats this year. So nationally, we're seeing the pendulum swinging back a little bit more on the defensive side.
Yeah. As we kind of wind down the hyper-local part, one of the things that has not changed from a student-athlete standpoint is the term student-athlete and that experience that you want to have for student-athletes to have at Middle Tennessee, even though sometimes there's a tornado going around in the national picture.
Yeah, and that's a part of our vision statement, is to provide an unparalleled collegiate experience for our student athletes. And that Murfreesboro, what we talked about at the top of the show, contributes to that. The General University contributes to that. I think that our culture inside our athletic department contributes to that. That we hire coaches that care about the kids, and that they want to see them do well academically. They want to see them thrive off the court or off the field. And I think that gets reflected back into winning, because I think then kids give you more. And, some of them, it might be a 1-year experience. Some of them might be a 3-year experience. Some of them might be a 5-year experience, but they're still our obligation when they're on our campus and in our care.
Middle has been very good in APR numbers. How do they calculate APR numbers now with as much coming and going as there is?
There's a lot of national chatter about that, Chip, but basically, that you get 1 point for retention and 1 point for eligibility. And so if a kid transfers out and he's eligible, you get 1 for 2. And so there is some talk about that. Like, how do we measure that? Is that still a quality measurement? We've got a lot of success with our graduation success rate, and we're in the 90 percentile of that. And that's if a kid's here and transfers to a 4-year school and he's still eligible or she's still eligible, then you don't get penalized for that in your graduation rate, because you've done what you needed to do at your place. And that's what we concentrate on, and we'll let the numbers fall where they are. But if we're doing a good job academically and putting kids in majors that they want to be in, and encouraging them and making sure that they go to class, because sometimes they get their priorities on a daily basis. Sometimes they get them mixed up a little bit. Might need a little reminder here and there.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a timeout. Chris Massaro, Director of Athletics at Middle Tennessee, is joining us, and we'll kind of dip our toe into the national picture and get his perspective in just a bit. You're listening to the Roundtable on WGNS.
When it comes to your child's health,
You want care that's close, convenient,
and centered around the needs of your family.
At MMC Pediatrics, we're more than just doctors.
We're partners in your parenting journey.
here for every growth spurt,
for every boo-boo,
every fever, and every flu.
Our team approach means that your child always sees someone that knows them.
We are MMC Pediatrics.
We are right beside you
every step of the way.
First Shot transforms Rutherford County youth. Coach Andy Herzer leads dynamic basketball camps and clinics, building skills and character since 2003. Kids dive into exciting STEM projects, sparking creativity through hands-on coding, art, and dance. They elevate their mind, spirit, and body in summer and winter programs. Visit FirstShotTN.org today to learn more. First Shot, where kids gain, elevate, and develop.
When the weather turns bad, minutes, even seconds matter.
This is an early heads up for southern Rutherford County.
Rutherford Weather brings you live radar and expert meteorologist insight, giving you an early heads up when storms threaten.
A lot of areas are going to see some impacts from this storm.
From analysis to live camera views, we keep you informed before, during, and after the storm.
I think the vast majority of the hail with this is going to be quarter to perhaps golf ball size.
Rutherford Weather. Stay ahead of the storm.
Do you love WGNS Radio? Well, now you can watch it too. WGNS Big G TV brings your favorite radio shows live and on demand. From breaking news and community talk to Rutherford County's top local sports. We've got it all right at your fingertips. Watch anytime, anywhere. WGNS Big G TV, where radio comes to life.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by AmeriCare Pest Control and the law offices of John Day.
This is a paid legal ad.
I help people at the most difficult times in their lives try to enforce their legal rights. Practiced law in Nashville for over 30 years. Well, we start with the facts. We need to understand what happened. And if the claim appears to have merit, then we're going to say, yes, we can help. I would encourage anybody who has been injured and they believe it's somebody else's fault to reach out to us. We're happy to give answers. Call the law offices of John Day for your free consultation.
Now, Good Neighbor Events. Here's Bart Walker.
The NAACP Murfreesboro branch is honored to host the 2026 Freedom Fund Gala. It's at 6 o'clock this Saturday night. It will be in the MTSU Student Union Ballroom. the NAACP Freedom Fund Gala. And this year's theme, Rooted in Resilience, Blooming Beyond Barriers. For more information, get in touch with the Murfreesboro NAACP. The Rutherford County Library System is offering free computer classes. To learn more about those free computer classes, drop by your nearest Rutherford County Library branch or call the Technology Engagement Center on Minerva Drive in Murfreesboro. Are you new to town and possibly want to learn more about your new community? The Rutherford County Historical Society is giving you a great opportunity this Saturday. Drop in to the one-room Ransom Schoolhouse anytime this Saturday between 9 in the morning and noon. The Ransom Schoolhouse is at 717 North Academy Street. It's all free. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Today, with highs around 95. Lows around 72. Tonight, storms likely. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Right now, 79.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric, who remind us that better communication leads to better service. Keep your contact info current at mte.com so you never miss an update on billing or local outages.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
Welcome back into the Roundtable on WGNS, and Chris Massaro, Director of Athletics at Middle Tennessee, joining us as the athletic year and school year getting underway. Convocation will be Saturday. Fan Day will be Saturday right after Convocation, and then right after that, classes get going, and it's all going fast now.
Yeah, let's go.
Coaches always talk about they don't want their quarterback sped up. Everybody gets sped up on campus this time of year.
They do. They do. So if you come to campus this week, enjoy the parking places.
Yep.
Because they'll be all full here in another week.
That's exactly right. We said we're going to talk about some of the national issues and kind of where college athletics is now. You know, it started out a few years ago with NIL, which was true name, image, and likeness, and now there's revenue share. Kind of talk about, the other big issue out there is the Protect College Sports Act that has not been voted on. It may get voted on in September, and all of that. Kind of give me your thoughts on where that is, where that stands, and how it could affect. And I'll go out and walk around for a while. Yeah.
Right. How long of a program do we have?
Yeah.
I just think that we need some sort of legislation to help ourselves. What's happened really is, and it's our fault. When I say our, it's the university's fault that when we have an NCAA issue that we don't like, the first alternative is just to go to court, and to get an injunction. And so we're dealing with this chaotic period where we're just living from court case to court case, and that's no way to operate a business and those kind of things. So I think we need some sort of federal overlay that so the rules are the same in the state of the Tennessee as they might be in the state of Louisiana, and so everybody's kind of operating out of the same playbook. So what's happening now is the states are involved in seeking advantages for their schools. And so we've got this kind of hodgepodge across the country. So we need some federal legislation for that. And the Protect College Sports Act does do that. It's not a perfect bill, which is why I think it has a chance. There's some things in there that I wish weren't in there. There's some things in there that I think that are really good. And I think if you talk to anybody in the industry and even those that are in politics that are trying to get it done, they would probably say the same thing. But that gives it the best chance, and it's a good starting place. We just need a couple of guardrails in there, and free agency every year for everybody is really a difficult thing to manage. In some ways, it's not a bad thing and it's great for the student athletes. But at some point, it's not sustainable, and we need to figure out a system that's fair to all. Chip, I'm one of the rarities. I think collective bargaining could be a solution, and I don't know. I don't fully understand why everybody's so scared about the employment piece, and maybe we're at that point. So I think that's kind of, as this thing evolves, that wouldn't surprise me to see that. The hard thing about collective bargaining, in the pros, it's pretty easy, and who do you bargain with? Like from a player's
who's
point of view,
representing them now?
Yeah, there's no union. And then from a player's perspective, who are they talking to? Is it a national bargaining? Is it by conference? Is it by school? And so, or by state? So I think there's a lot of people that just say, oh, we should go to collective bargaining. That there's still a lot of details into that.
Yeah. What are some of the things you do like about it?
About the bill? The bill? I think it's fair. I think that one of the things that I like about it is that there's still, everybody gets a transfer, so if you get in there and the school's not right for you, or you're playing way above what your perceived ability was, or you're playing way below, you have an outlet, and I think that's important. It's important for the student athlete. I think that's fair. If you graduate, you get another transfer opportunity, so there's encouragement for graduation. So I think that's it. What I mentioned earlier, the federal protection, we can start to eliminate the attorney generals from each state going to court. We can start eliminating, the individual athletes with the different cases going to court and those kind of things. So that's what I like. I just think that more than anything, it's a start to building some parameters in this new college world, and it's okay to have this new world. We just need some guidelines and to be able to put it in place. And so I think it's a good starting point.
Now, is the 5-for-5 rule in effect?
Yes.
So that does go into effect now.
Yeah, that's not related to the College Sports Act. So that's an NCAA rule. It's mostly age-based. So it has to do with, the number of years after your 19th birthday. And so right now, trying to enact that legislation and put it in place, that there's been some challenges to it, like the ones that in the 22 freshman class that say, hey, they should have been part of this and get one more year. So they're arguing that in court, and there's been a ruling in their favor, and the NCAA is appealing that, which I'm not really thrilled about the appeal. I just soon just let them have it. And so we can all move forward. Because right now we're saying, well, you can take these kids, but by January, if we win our appeal, they might not be eligible. And so I don't think there's any consideration to the campus decisions that you have to make.
Yeah, and through all of this, everybody going to court, one of the things is who's representing the high school seniors that have seen opportunities some of the opportunities go to the wayside.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is more people retain eligibility, then there's more people that are staying in the system. So obviously there's if you have that, then the newcomers coming into the system get impacted. And so I think that's a bad byproduct of what's happening. I think that hopefully the 5-year eligibility will remedy that. Once this thing
is that give the one free pass for a transfer, or is that part of the?
That's part of the College Sports Act.
So right now it would just be 5-for-5.
Yeah.
And how are the international students who sometimes tend to be a little older? How does it affect them?
Yeah, and it does, and that's one of the. And hockey presented the challenge nationally, because the hockey system, evidently you go and you play semi-pro for a couple of years, and that's sort of the tradition, And so there are some individual sports where I think track is a lot older. Tennis is a lot older because of the international. But right now, and I like this, that it's the rules the same for everybody.
Yeah, and that includes the SEC, the Big Ten, all everybody. And has, from your reading of the tea leaves, I guess from one day to the next, you hear on different sports talk shows or whatever that the SEC either they're all in or they want to go their own way, things like that. Is it going to take everybody to be involved, or could you see a system that could have two systems?
Yeah, and I've stopped caring and worrying so much when they start beating that drum.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't really care what them and the Big Ten do in a larger sense. I just want to make sure that the one thing that we still have is access to our championships. And I don't want them to mess with the NCAA tournament. I don't want them to, particularly in men's basketball, but really all NCAA tournaments are wonderful. And the NCAA gets batted around for doing a lot of things wrong, and they've earned some of that. But one of the things they do really well is put on championship events, and whether it's for women's soccer or men's basketball or track and field, those are signature events. So what the Big Ten and SEC end up doing eventually, who knows? But I think that's the one thing the rest of us need to keep fighting for, is that access to championships. And that's, if they want to break away and do their own TV contracts and form a little miniature NFL, and that's fine, as long as the rest of us still have some CFP slots. As long as the rest of us still have the AQs for the NCAA basketball tournaments, and really for all NCAA tournaments, that I just think, and I think the sporting public wants that. They like the idea that we have a national champion, and it's done on the field or on the court, and it's not just, well, the Big Ten championship and we're better than everybody else.
And that's part of what has been such the allure of the college football playoff, because it had never, there had been mythical national champions, and you had the BCS and you had a few other things here and there, but the CFP, when it came along, truly galvanized college football fans. And as you mentioned, for Conference USA, the Sun Belt, Mountain West, to that group of 5 or 6 conferences, to have access to the college football playoff is a huge deal.
Yeah, and there's really two things 2 points I really want to make on that, Chip, is that I think it's really healthy for college football that the arguments are who should get into the playoff, not who's the national champion. Mm-hmm. And most of our lives, we had the argument of who's the national champion. Mm-hmm. Well, is it Southern Cal or is it Texas or somebody?
Alabama stopped Penn State at the goal line.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not a vote that they do it. And so we don't wait till after the January 1 bowls and who had the most impressive victory on January 1 might win the national championship. So those arguments are largely gone. We haven't heard that in well over a decade. Yeah. So now it's like, well, so-and-so should have got in and those kind of things. And that's a different argument.
And something that has been in Middle's wheelhouse a good bit during this period of time is that the bowl system continued to flourish.
Yeah, and I think there's room for that. The second point, too, is that the first time in really a school like ours history, the last 2-3 years, is we have access to the football championship. Mm-hmm. And I remember my son Ben, when he was 7 or 8 years old, and Tom Brady's winning some Super Bowls with the Patriots, and he said, "Dad, if we had Tom Brady, would we get in? Could we be a national champion?" And I'm like, I don't think so. maybe if one of those years where we play 2 or 3 Power 5 teams, maybe our schedule would have been strong enough to get us in, but basically the system locked us out. Now, if you have a Ben Roethlisberger like Miami of Ohio and some of those, that you do have a chance. And that Boise team that beat Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl, that team would have had a chance to show what they could do. The Kellen Moores and the Colin Kaepernicks and stuff that have come up through. And so it's the first time in our history that schools like us have access to the championship. And, and that's all we want. We realize we'll be underdogs in most of the games, but there are going to be years where that's going to be a pretty good football team, and it's going to take a good football team to beat a group of 5.
Yeah, and that happened with Liberty a couple years ago when they went to the Fiesta Bowl, and it took a good team to knock them out.
Yeah, it was Oregon, and so it's come out of our league, the best team in the group of 5, and now it's the group of 6 when you throw in the Pac-12, and so that team still has access to the CFP, and I think that's a really good thing.
Well, those who choose the teams for the CFP are on the selection committee, and one happens to be here with me today. And we'll talk a little bit about kind of how they go about their business when we return. Chris Massaro, the guest, Director of Athletics at Middle Tennessee. More on the Roundtable right after this.
When it comes to your child's health,
you want care that's close, convenient,
and centered around the needs of your family.
At MMC Pediatrics, we're more than just doctors.
We're partners in your parenting journey.
Here for every growth spurt,
for every boo-boo,
every fever, and every flu.
Our team approach means that your child always sees someone that knows them.
We are MMC Pediatrics.
We are right beside you
every step of the way.
What's the location of your emergency? I think my kid OD'd.
Hi, I'm Craig Harris. I'm County Commissioner of Rutherford County. One of the reasons I ran for office is because I wanted to bring awareness to the opioid epidemic that's impacting our county. To stop providing this epidemic with people as we educate. We have a lot to do, and we have to come together as a community because this problem is not going away.
If I had to rate the office of John Day,
I would definitely give him a 5-star rating.
It's 20 stars.
Probably like 100 stars. John Day's office was wonderful.
They are caring.
Call the law offices of John Day.
I would recommend them to everyone.
Over 1,000 times a year, a lawyer refers someone who needs help in a personal injury or wrongful death case to us because we treat every referral in a timely, professional way. Trust the lawyers other lawyers trust. Trust the law offices of John Day.
Hey folks, it's Chip Walters from Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, helping Middle Tennessee make smart moves in a fast-moving market. Whether you're buying, selling, or just exploring your options, you deserve someone who knows this community and treats your goals like their own. From first-timers to long-time homeowners, I'm here to guide you with clarity, confidence, and a steady hand. When you're ready to make the next move, start with someone you trust. Visit choosechip.net and let's make your 2026 move the right move.
From driveways to highways, SRM Concrete has the right mix, on time, every time. Locally grown, nationally known, family owned and operated, SRM is the name you trust. SRM Concrete, you call, we haul.
Hey, this is Trevor from Bell Jewelers. Come see us at Bell Jewelers. We have the largest selection of Longines watches in the state of Tennessee. I personally have 3 Longines watches, the Legend Diver, Zulu Time, and Conquest. The quality of the watch you get for the price is unbeatable. Trust, it's very important in this business. Bell Jewelers has been the store that people trust since 1879. Bell Jewelers, 821 Northwest Broad Street, across from Toots.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
Welcome back into the roundtable on this Wednesday. Chip Walters here, welcoming Director of Athletics at Middle Tennessee, Chris Massaro, and we were talking about access to the CFP, and you were one of the gatekeepers to see who does get access as a member of the selection committee, and getting on that had to be really gratifying personally, and for a very a long and successful career in college athletics, to be selected to that. That's a pretty visible and a big time deal.
Yeah, I think, Chip, it's one of the biggest professional achievements or thrills that I've had, is to be selected on that. I always wanted to be on that, or the men's basketball committee. Did serve a year on the women's basketball committee. So anytime you're on a selection committee, it becomes a real responsibility too. And one of the things that they drill on us is that, particularly with football, is like, hey guys, millions of people are counting on you. Mm-hmm. And millions of people are
pressure,
hoping,
but
you get you do it right. So the challenge is to watch as many games as you can, become as knowledgeable as you can. So put in your work outside the committee meetings, so you come to the meetings prepared. And that was always my goal, is I always wanted to be the most prepared guy in there. And I thought, that my work ethic, that'll be pretty easy. And then it's like, geez, everybody came in really at the same level, so I got to raise mine even more. And so it's a committee that they spend a lot of time, like in our summer and spring meetings, building camaraderie and doing a lot of team building and those kind of things. And we just met in Los Angeles, and one of our side trips, Chip, is they took us on a special tour of SpaceX. And that was really fascinating.
You get some inside knowledge. Elon was not there, I'm guessing.
He was not there, but the director of the director of the CFP, Rich Clark, is a 3-star Air Force general, and he went to the Air Force Academy, and one of his classmates is a 4-star general that's running SpaceX for Elon Musk, and so he's the guy that gave us the tour, and it was fascinating. But the point is, we get to do a lot of things like that. So when we meet in November, we feel confident enough and in our relationships with the others that we're free to say what we think, and without danger of really hurting somebody's feelings or those kind of things, because it's important for us to have that dialogue. 1 year in, that's one of the things I learned, is like this dialogue is so critical in our meetings. And sometimes you have to come in with an open mind and listen to whatever, a colleague, and say, oh, that's a good point. Maybe I need to change my position a little bit. And so I like the committee. The committee makeup, it has I think 3 or 4 coaches. It's got 5 or 6 athletic directors. It's got a media person. It's got a couple ex-players. So everybody brings a little bit of different perspective to the table, and that's what makes it kind of fun and interesting, is when we all start talking, to see what everybody values.
As the season begins, you all don't meet in person until in October, November, somewhere right in there?
Yeah, we've got kind of a preliminary exercise we'll do in mid-October, and we'll go through the process. We won't do any sort of official rankings, and that's just to refresh everybody, and also for the new members to be able to know what the process is. And then it really starts the first week of November, and then we fly into Dallas on Sunday, and we fly out Tuesday, and so we meet every week until Selection Sunday.
Yeah.
And so, it's a heavy responsibility. It's a little bit like that term paper that you always feel like you're a little bit behind on, and you got to catch up.
With 1 year under your belt on that committee, you get so much information thrown at you, and you've always been a guy who did research, looked at stats and things like that. What did you learn from the information that was thrown at you? Maybe a new stat that you hadn't really thought about that really is a precursor or a determination of winning.
Yeah, and they've got this data analytics company that And that's what we do in the spring and the summer is they present us with these stats and these statistical correlations. And one of the ones over the last 10 years that's been number one related to winning, the number one stat is a stat called relative offense. And what relative scoring offense and relative yardage offense. And what that means is, like, let's do relative scoring offense, that if you score 30 points in a game against a team that gives up 30 points a game, your relative offense isn't going to be
You're
that
kind of
good.
neutral.
Yeah, but if you score 30 and they're used to giving up 14, then that's a real bonus. That's a real accomplishment. If you score 30 and the other team's giving up 40, that's no big. So just the average, we're averaging 30 points a game. It sort of measures the schedule strength and who you're playing with. And so that's the number one. The two relative offenses are number one. The defenses were the last 10 years were the relative scoring defense and relative yardage defense were down a little bit, but last year relative scoring defense was number one. It was the first time in 10 years on an annual. So maybe the pendulum, as I mentioned earlier, is shifting a little bit, but those were some interesting stats to me that I wasn't really aware of that stat till I really got on the committee. And it makes a lot of sense. They don't, you hear a lot about turnover margins, and our coaches on the committee they're like, where is turnover margin on these 10 stats that drive winning, and it's not on it. And they're like, well, that's embedded in these other stats like relative scoring and relative defense and all those kind of things. So that's it. But the other thing is, like, trust your eyes too.
I was going to say,
you know, like watching the games and trusting your eyes, like, and knowing a little bit. Like, one of the games that really impressed me last year was like Arkansas was 2-10 last year, but they were the best 2-win team in the country, and that's kind of a dubious distinction. But they lost so many close games. But Notre Dame just went into Fayetteville and just pounded them, you know, and so that was a real impressive game. When Indiana took Illinois to the woodshed at home and just beat them by like 60, and it's like, holy smoke, what's Indiana? We better start paying even more attention to them. So you see some of those eye-popping games, and you watch them and go, okay. And sometimes if you beat a team by 3 touchdowns, how did that game really go? Was it could be a close game up until the last couple minutes, and a couple get away, and those kind of things. So so trust your eyes. That's the biggest thing. Like, it's not computer generated and all those kind of things. So that there's still a human element to it, and to be able to say this team's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. Heading down the home stretch here with Chris Massaro, Director of Athletics at Middle Tennessee, and we'll kind of pull out the crystal ball here. Not necessarily guess on anything, because this is pretty much as you look to the future. Campus has changed a lot in your tenure. Athletic facilities have changed a lot. Right now, in the midst of the Bill Blue program, you've had the outdoor tennis facility was the first facility, I guess, under the Bill Blue banner, that in the Peterson Plaza. But by the way, professional tennis going on at the Outdoor Tennis Center this week, which is interesting, and it's free admission, starts about 2:00 every day. I actually saw some matches on Amazon Prime last night from the outdoor tennis facility, which was kind of cool. But as you look ahead, obviously the Smith Center has been built. That's a key piece. But there's going to be things happening to the football stadium, and, of course, a big part of renovation to Murphy Center. Kind of what is the timing on some of that as you at least hope the timing is going to be?
Yeah, and the Smith Performance Center, we built that, and we opened it just a little over a year ago, Chip.
July 30th.
Yeah, and that building's been remarkable for us, and there's not one dime of state funding in it, and so there's a lot of private money in that, and our BRAA fans really got behind the concept of that building, and adopted it as their own. So that part's been good. And I hope what people see in that building is and also the tennis center is the whole vision. Like, if we're gonna build, let's build it right, you know. And so 10 years from now, we won't have any regrets. And so I think we did that with the tennis. We've done that with the Smith Center. And so with the Murphy Center, that's been kind of our driving force as well as that. So to answer your question, the first up is the football renovation. I'm excited about the renovating the west stands and some of the elements we're going to put in there. Timetable wise, that we're still kind of in design and phase of it. We're winding it up. So the idea is that when the final whistle blows on the last game of the year, that construction is started, you know, and because it's going to be a really tight timeline to really rebuild a lot of the west stands in that 7-month time period. And the idea is then by the first game, I think it's September 11 of 27, that it'll be open. And
it's going to be a lot of new chair backs on that side.
Yeah, we're going to have chair backs, a lot more chair backs on the lower part below the concourse, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
That it'll be chair backs from end to end, and on the wings of the upper part of the west deck, we'll have bench backs. So every seat will have some sort of backrest. What I really like about the lower piece is that we've doubled the legroom. And so the legroom was really tight there. When we went to Armed Forces Bowl and at TCU, I mean, they did that, and that was one of the most comfortable stadiums
It's
I've
a stadium
ever been
that looks like it holds 60,000, but it holds 40,000 or 45,000, whatever it was, super comfortably.
Yeah, and that's what
you don't have to get up when somebody.
Right. It's you know, and right now, like when you sit in our chairs, I mean, my knees, and I've got relatively short legs. I got little penguin legs, but my knees still jam against the seats in front of me. So to have people be able to pass back and forth in front of you, that's just remarkable, and be able to stretch out. So if you're sitting in the middle of the aisle, you can actually get to a bathroom or get to the concession stand and all those kind of things. So that's going to be a really great benefit. We've paid a lot of attention to what the stadium looks like when nobody's there.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. We have recruits, we have corporate sponsors, we got potential donors, all those kind of things. So what we've done with the seats and the seating configuration, we outline the state of Tennessee, much like our court. And then we've got these little white chairs that are going to mark where Murfreesboro is. And so
should have brought the slideshow to show on
it's hard on radio.
YouTube. Yeah, well, we got the big GTV.
Yeah,
but that, and then the Murphy Center project. That's going to be a big
Murphy Center
project.
is the biggest thing we've got going on, and it fits. I mean, it's number one. It's a 50-year plus building, so it needs a lot of infrastructure, like need new pipes, need new electrical wiring, all those kind of things. But what I like about it too is it's going to tie in, and it's going to tie into what we're trying to do, and so we want to make it more of an entertainment center. We want to bring concerts back. We're working hard on having a concert this fall inside the Murphy Center. We want to be able to do concerts at Floyd Stadium. That my idea really is that in October when we're playing weeknight games, why can't we do a Saturday concert, you know, at Floyd Stadium? And so working hard to try to achieve that in the future. So all of this stuff, we've got to get it down. And then the commercialization zone, what we call a lightning zone across the Middle Tennessee Boulevard, to be able to develop it. We've already got a hotel.
It's going to go up in the old Woodfin lot.
Yeah, it's going to go right there, and so anchor that corner, and we hope that spurs a lot of retail and activity across the street. So really the more events we do at Floyd Stadium and at Murphy Center fuels that, fuels the retail and visitors to this end of town. And we've worked really hard with the city, with our Lightning Zone Committee, and the idea is to develop plans that tie this concept to the concepts they have about the square and tying them all together and to do one big overlay. And so Shane McFarland and the city planning have been great with that. So what we want to do is really transform this whole area and have that as a basis in how we're going to sustain revenue and those kind of things in the future. Well, this is a big answer to that.
Yeah. Well, one thing we want to transform is Floyd Stadium into a pit on September 5th when Murray State comes in. Of course, Fan Day coming up on Saturday, 5 to 7, all free. It's going to be on the east side of the stadium, which is the baseball side. So you can park over there by the baseball field or wherever. All the gates will be open, but all the autograph signing and all the free stuff will be on the east side. And then it's just 2 weeks from Saturday, it all cranks up.
Yeah, and if you're not a season ticket holder, that we've got a great offer. Like you can go online and buy our all-in shirt.
Yeah.
It's a whiteout, and if you wear that shirt, you get in free to the Murray State game. But our season ticket holders and other fans that have tickets, put on your white shirt. Let's white this thing out, and let's get Murray. As I said, that's a huge game. And we need as many people in the stands to help our boys because we got to win that game.
As my old friend Chuck Ross used to say, beat them and beat them good. That's right. So,
exactly.
This is a very busy time of the year for you, and I don't want it to go unnoticed. You were able to break away for an hour and come down here today. And
no, it's my pleasure.
Good deal. Well, thanks so much for coming in.
Yeah.
If you missed any of this, it'll be on the podcast section of WGNSradio.com. Tune in next week. Tune in. Brian coming up next. He'll give you all the weather coming up. And we'll back next week. And right now, your guess is as good as mine as who the guest will be next week, but we'll figure it out before next Wednesday. Thanks so much. Have a great day, everybody.
WGNS, Murfreesboro, Smyrna.